Hi guys, welcome back to the On the Fly podcast with me and my lovely friend Mardy. We are back this week for actually the final episode of the series, although we said that
For real.
at least 5 times last week. This is actually the last one of the first series, episode 8, and we are coming back to a spirit we've discussed before, but it's other categories similar to how we did last week with all of the aged rums and such. After we'd already been through white rums, we're doing the same, but with tequila. Uh, Tequila is I think our most popular episode so far. In general, our original tequila episode. And I actually had a lot of fun with that one, despite not liking tequila very much. Um,
You'll learn.
I'm getting better at handling it through drinking it a lot, so that's something. Um, but today we are focusing more specifically on everything that isn't a Blanco tequila. The first time we talked about tequila, it was Blanco as sort of the core tequila, the main tequila that is used in most things today. It's agave products as a whole, I suppose. So aged tequilas, filtered tequilas, mezcal as its own category. We're going to be going through sort of all of those different ones, or including all of those different ones in the recipes and such that we talk about today. Again, as I said on the previous tequila episode, tequila is not the biggest knowledge base of mine. But I know at least the differences, and that will be enough for today. Um, but first of all, how have you been? How has your last week been?
I've been doing all right. Still in training at my new job, but that's it's going well. So I haven't that's been kind of occupying the majority of my time, and I've been pretty tired afterwards, so I haven't been really doing too much outside of that. But it's after the next week it'll be done, and then maybe we'll have to have a Jägermeister in celebration.
That seems like a good idea. I'll get some in, so I've actually got some at home, and
Oh, wonderful.
we can do some Jägermeister shots together on uh, maybe on a recording of some kind. But yeah, the training in new jobs always at least drags a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's necessary, I suppose. And once you get through it, you can just
Yeah.
relax.
Power through.
Yeah,
Have you
I
been up to anything exciting?
big busy week at work.
Yeah.
There was a few different things on in the city at the weekend, including like a Comic Con and MegaCon and such. So we had
Hmm.
lots of cosplayers and such coming in. Being a like arcade gaming bar, we have a big crossover in fan base, I suppose, with MegaCon animes and stuff like that. So
That
um,
makes sense.
we got a decent contingent from a lot of those. And on Thursday last week, this was kind of probably only a day or two after the last recording. It was we had Hooch come in, and
Of course you did.
they had their 30th birthday, so they did like a big event with us in our outdoor area. I actually ended up on the Instagram page serving cocktails and such. I
Oh,
didn't know I was
nice.
going to end up on it. I just was scrolling and I was like, hey, that's me making those cocktails. I got some like free Hooch goodies and stuff. I got a wait, hold on. I got a
A
Hooch
giant
bucket.
tip bucket. Yeah.
uh,
That's
yeah, it's and I got like some glasses and a t-shirt and stuff like that.
nice.
And was just serving like Hooch cocktails for like a load of industry lot and stuff. It was really
You were
fun.
in your element.
Yeah, yeah. I like Hooch a lot, as I've said before. So it was pretty cool to be a part of their celebrations and that.
Neat.
But yeah, so busy working, plenty of drinking in between it, of course. Mostly
Of
Hooch
course.
still, because you know,
Why fix what's not broken?
exactly, it does the job, and I had plenty around. So, um, yeah, nothing too fancy, just a grafter's weekend and a reward or two after work. Um, yeah, it's been. I took yesterday to rest as much as I could because it was a long weekend.
Gotta have
But
those days.
yeah, back in the flow of things now. Back at it again this weekend, of course. Um, you know, you keep going. Um, Plenty of tequila flowing, of course, as well. Uh, as is so often now, which I don't know how I feel about, but you do what you got
It's
to do,
okay to
you
grow
know.
up.
Yeah, yeah. If that's what you want to call it. Um, but yeah, I will say I haven't consumed very much tequila outside of Blanca. Um, it's with like the
Yeah,
other categorizations, whether uh, we're talking about reposado, añejo, cristalino, even like mezcal. What's it? The Yoval, the other young
Jovan.
one. Um,
Yes.
like I've not seen them too often, really, in a lot of bars here, and I've certainly not drank them very much.
Yeah, that's really been my experience too. Minus like the last bar that I worked at, most places have had like a Blanco tequila and maybe like an añejo or something like that, but not we no even like mezcal or anything like that. It's just not very
I've
popular unless you're at somewhere specific where you're looking for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have a few tequila bars here, that will obviously
Same.
stock
Mhm.
as much as they can. But outside of those, like you see a chunk of reposados, usually just buy whatever the brand of the house tequila you've got in is.
Yeah.
But that's really about it. Like at the where I am now, we've got a reposado and we've got a mezcal. Um, but I don't think I've ever sold either of them like as a just as a spirit. Um,
Yeah.
I believe they're in one or two of the cocktails, so maybe that's sort of more of their core use. But I just as an individual drink, like it's not
It's
really something that people order that much here.
it's one of those things, yeah, 'cause and I'll agree with you that it's one of those things that when I've had someone order or like request me carry something at a bar, it's usually that they're drinking it as like a sipper, like sort of like analogous to
Yeah,
like a bourbon. So you have those really aged flavors that taste nice on ice. I've also made a bunch of like old fashions with different aged tequilas
yeah,
and
that makes
mezcal as
sense.
well. That's another
I mean,
another popular
the old
application.
fashioned build is really good to bring those complex flavors out of spirits, right? So it's usually
Yep,
a safe
definitely.
bet. And the flavors in a lot of aged tequilas are quite well fitting for um, like a particular style of cocktail. I
Mhm.
noticed while doing some research on this where like mezcal particularly is quite often paired with an aperitif or an amaro in a cocktail, um, just to
I
make me
suppose
like
bringing
it
those
even less, I suppose.
yeah, you're bringing those bitter flavors into the I guess mezcal is I guess it's technically smoky. I think it tastes like Band-Aids. I'm
Yeah,
not a mezcal fan. Um,
me neither.
but I can see that, with the bitter of the aperitivos compared with the smokier of the mezcal, those are complementary flavors.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. And I think that like when it comes to most applications of mezcals or aged tequilas in particular in cocktails, it's less so that they get their own kind of classic categories and more so that they're alternatives used in tequila cocktails for people who really
Exactly.
like the tequila, right? Like
Yeah,
it'll be a margarita, but you use a reposado to get more of that kind of
exactly.
flavor. It'll be
Yep.
uh, like some kind of other build, but you're bringing these into like sort of like different old fashioned builds and stuff to bring out those
Yeah,
notes. Like it's more so you substitute it in for someone who really likes tequila,
exactly.
um, and maybe that's why I don't see them quite as much because obviously as someone who doesn't personally drink that much tequila, it's not something that I explore that often. And with tequila's public persona here, really outside of a margarita, it's not being drank that much, even in cocktails. So to replace it, a lot of people here who would drink a margarita would look at that and go, "Oh, can I just get a regular one?" So it doesn't really
Right.
hold the same kind of importance as it maybe could.
I think
Um,
for a degree that it's similar here. I mean, some of the more like fancier cocktail bars here will definitely have like those mezcal or reposado focused specialty cocktails that
Oh
aren't
yeah.
like a margarita, but like for the most part, yeah, you just don't see it because people are just going to
Yeah,
substitute in
I suppose.
their favorite Patron.
I suppose actually now I think of it, a lot of the higher end cocktail bars that I have visited here almost always have at least one mezcal drink on there.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe it's just something that I'm not seeing as often because it's not at the sort of cheaper bars that I frequent more
Yeah.
often, being broke and that. Um, and it's more so at the sort of higher end bars where they have a much heavier focus on particular flavors. Um,
Yeah, I mean, and I don't drink a lot of cocktails like that, but I do like to cruise a lot of menus, and that's one thing that I've noticed in the higher end cocktail bars is it's mandatory to have a mezcal cocktail because I
yeah,
think that that's what someone coming from the outside judging a menu is going to have that expectation to see it.
that's true.
Um, but I just wonder how often they get ordered though, because like you said,
I
it
mean,
just it's not something that you see in popular culture, and even like when we were researching cocktails to bring tonight, like there's just not a ton out there, you know?
yeah, across like all of the aged tequila categories and
Mhm.
mezcal, like in
Yeah,
terms of real proper classics, where like
right.
most of the classics I was finding were just twists with mezcal instead of, or
Mhm.
even a few where mezcal was more of an additive than a core ingredient, so it didn't really fit what I wanted to bring with it.
Yeah.
Like it maybe this is something that the cocktail market here could do with improving on. Maybe it's something that it could utilize more. We talked last episode about how the real complex notes in aged rums can lend themselves to some really interesting cocktails.
Mhm.
Maybe that's something that is a little bit of not unexplored territory, but underexplored, perhaps.
I think
Um,
I think you're onto something there, because like, consider, like, so I think the only mezcal cocktail that I've ever liked was the one that we had, at Isabella Mayfair, and
yes.
it was
What a
that
fantastic place,
mezcal.
by the way.
It was infused with, coconut.
Yeah.
And so you had kind of like it took some of the harsher flavors that come with a mezcal and really rounded them out. So you had that like really smoky coconut, smooth. And I think that if we were using it more, like people don't think of doing infusions with mezcal, I don't think as
Yeah.
much
I'd agree with
outside
that.
of like maybe like us a hot pepper or something like
Yeah.
that. Um, but I think that if we're looking to expand into cocktails that are focused on those kind of bolder flavors, like, that would be the way, or, like, think of even, like, and I don't even know how well this would work, but, like, a milk punch with
Yeah.
mezcal,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like, something that I think would explode.
a milk punch has a way of drawing away some of the strength of the spirit that you use, right?
Mhm,
So maybe that would help people to enjoy mezcal a little more casually by
mhm.
stripping away some of that
Yeah.
those heavier notes in it. I think that maybe a part of the reason it's the higher end cocktail bars that are using it more is because they're more confident in their abilities to make cocktails, if that makes sense. Like I not in terms of making a cocktail, in terms of like the craft behind it, where
Yeah.
if you're not a place that already has a high reputation or a place that has a wealth of experience or a name behind you or something like that, you might be more inclined to choose another spirit because you're more likely to make one people like. Whereas
Mhm.
the flavors in your mezcals and your aged tequilas are a little bit more difficult to put forward to someone. And if you're doing that when you're not at a high end cocktail bar, there's maybe a slightly higher risk that comes with it. And it therefore could be a really good reward, but maybe people are hesitant, I'd
Well,
say.
yeah, I think along with that, it's probably knowing your audience, like, what is your customer base?
Right, right.
Because, like, if you're in a mid-level cocktail bar, like, you can have some edgier, if we're gonna use words like that, drinks that are more on the fringe, that are a little bit more experimental. Um, but you can't have your whole menu be like that because you won't have buy-in from
Yeah.
the regular people, the regular people
Yeah.
that come there.
Yeah,
But when you're
exactly.
going to a high-end bar, they already have the expectation of having a very elevated experience. So I think that you can get away with having just like very esoteric drinks that are using ingredients in very different ways, and people will just see the vibe and order it. They won't really like
Exactly.
delve
Yeah.
into like,
So
oh, I
like
don't like mezcal. Like, let's do it, you know?
so like in those sort of mid-level cocktail bars, as you called them, if they aren't going to put too many of those super out there cocktails on, they only go with one or two, and they're looking at what ingredients to use in those. I feel like they're more likely to look at, perhaps a bourbon or a
Hmm.
rum or an unaged spirit, because it's easier to get some unique flavors in there that appeal en masse.
Hmm.
Whereas you can't do that quite as easily with something like a mezcal or an añejo. Um,
Hmm.
so it's easier to just to choose something else for your really out there ones.
Yeah.
And then your simple ones, there's so many outside of this that they often make more sense to put on as well. Like maybe it's something that I mean, tequila on a whole in cocktails has been on the rise over the last sort of half a
Yes.
decade in the UK particularly. I don't know specifically about the US. So
Hmm.
maybe it's something that's to come. Maybe we'll look back on this episode in 2 years and go, "Damn, we were so right." Now everyone's doing mezcal cocktails, but you know, who knows?
Well, yeah, I think that it's probably up and coming, and like, with a mezcal is basically what? It's a tequila that's not made in one of like the regions where a
Yeah.
tequila has to be made, right? So it's any other agave-based spirit, right? And I think that that's probably a category that, these independent distillers who are looking to do some interesting things will
Oh yeah,
probably
absolutely.
start. The biggest thing is being able to get agave.
Yeah, and local independent spirits, or like liqueurs and stuff, are something that
Mhm.
have really grown here
Yes,
a lot.
here too.
Um, like a lot of bars now, if they have the budget available, will choose to go with these smaller local brands because it's
Mhm.
almost more interesting. Not only are you
Oh yeah,
supporting a local brand, but like if you're looking at a menu and you see one cocktail that has Cointreau in, sure that's safe, but you see one that has Mouse Kingdom Orange Curacao, which is specifically one that is local to here, and it says it's local to here, you're gonna go, well,
yeah,
I'm gonna get that. That sounds cool, you know.
yeah,
It's maybe not as safe, but it's cool, and that's something that maybe could be explored more with, like a mezcal. Um,
yeah, definitely.
but there's definitely a lot of untapped potential, I'd say there. Um,
Mhm.
let's let's switch over into some of the tapped potential, more so, and talk about a couple of the classics we have found with
Yeah,
an aged tequila or mezcal of some kind. What recipe have you brought for us this week for your classic?
I went with a dragon punch. It's kind of a play on a margarita, but it's mezcal with yellow chartreuse, lime juice, orgeat, and hot pepper sauce, or like a Tabasco. Um, and it is a relatively new drink. Was developed in 2020 by Robert Weeks in Montreal, Canada. Me, just love those Canadian drinks. But you know, the kind of the balance between the almond from the orgeat and then all of like the herbal liqueur and the mezcal really kind of comes in a very wonderful array of flavors, and then giving that little spicy bite to it. It really just sounds like a very well-rounded sort of cocktail that's, familiar enough that it's margarita adjacent, but not so familiar.
Right, right. That
Right.
makes sense. Like it takes what the margarita does well and just kind of really
Expands
brings
on
out
it,
like a
yeah.
fresh flavor from it, which I guess is realistically how a lot of tequila
Right.
cocktails go, or a lot of just cocktails in
Just
general,
cocktails
like
in
kind of
general,
daisy
right?
build, right? It's a
Yeah.
safe one to go with, I suppose.
Yeah.
What's a recipe looking like for that?
So for that, I would probably go with probably about 45 or 50 mLs of mezcal, um, about 15 of the yellow chartreuse, 30 mLs of fresh squeezed lime juice, about 15 to 20 mLs of orgeat, and then 2 to 3 dashes of hot pepper sauce. Um, you're gonna shake it and fine strain it into a coupe, and the garnish is cucumber. So it's a folded up cucumber.
Nice. I love cucumber as a garnish.
I do too.
It's irritating to have in if you don't sell a lot of cocktails with it on.
Hmm. It
But
turns very fast. Yes.
it does, yeah. But it's so pretty. Like every time I see a cucumber garnish something,
So
it just
fresh. Yeah.
yeah, it really brings out a refreshing flavor. I really like orgeat. I think it's not like a flavor I go straight to where I'm like, oh, that's a favorite. But every time I have something with orgeat in it, it's always like, wow, that's really like it's got like a really nice clean flavor. Like
Yeah. I really like it.
it's surprisingly refreshing. Admittedly, I might struggle a little bit with the spice element of that one. But
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
I
I
suppose
love
if
a
there's not
spicy
that much
tequila
in it, it's not going to be
cocktail. So
too bad.
I mean, it's a choose your own adventure, I suppose. You could add more if you wanted a little bit more heat
Yeah,
to it.
that's true.
Or, just we could just wave the bottle over the cocktail for you and it would be the same
Yeah,
thing, right?
like a glass rinse, like a let the glass look at it from across the room, and then
Yes.
yeah, and then it'll be
That's
spicy
enough
enough. I
spice.
think yeah,
Yeah,
that's enough spice for me. Yeah, but no, it sounds like a I like the name as well, Dragon Punch.
me too.
Sounds
Dragon
cool.
punch.
I did admittedly when you said it think oh it's gonna have dragon fruit in it, and it didn't, and that threw me off a little bit.
Oh yeah, I
But
could see where you think that.
but
Yeah, I think it's the fire breathing, not the literal
yeah
dragon.
yeah I guess that makes more sense perhaps. Although
I
dragon fruit
suppose.
with tequila is definitely something that could work. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no,
What
it
do you
sounds
what did you
cool.
bring?
With this being a category that I'm less confident with overall in terms of my knowledgeability and also experience with it, I went with a bit more of a safe classic perhaps this week. I love going with my weird out there contemporary ones, but I left that to you this week. I've gone with the Naked and Famous.
Of
Probably
course.
the only classic of any kind of aged tequila or mezcal that we were looking at that I'd heard of prior that wasn't just a twist.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
the Naked and Famous uh, is still actually like a relatively modern, relatively contemporary cocktail. Like it really sort of grew in popularity really quickly because of its appearance at Death and Co, which is obviously
Yes.
a huge place, um, and is based on the lyrics from a Tricky Kids song in 1996, which I think is a cool little tidbit about it.
It is.
Created by I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm so sorry, Joaquin Seymour. Um,
Close enough.
yeah, it's a like it kind of became an instant classic despite being a bit of a newer one. A real kind of punchy herbal one, very strong. It is
Yeah, yeah.
mezcal, Aperol, or something similar, yellow chartreuse, and lime juice. So no
Boozy.
sweetener, no juice. Very very
Oof.
boozy. Oh, also shake, fine strain into a coupe. It just gets a lime slice or a lime wheel or dehydrated lime, some kind of lime. All it needs. Very simple, clean look to it. I think that the herbal notes from the chartreuse balance really well with the Aperol.
Hmm.
I'm not a big
Oh yeah, of
Aperol fan
course.
myself, but I can appreciate the notes that come with it when it's mixed with the right things.
Yes.
So not an Aperol spritz is what I mean.
Never enough, never an Aperol spritz.
It's no. Super easy like recipe on it as well because it's really easy to adapt if you want to kind of change it around a little bit. The recipe I use uses 20 mil like increments, but it's basically just a 1-to-1 ratio of everything. So it's just 20 mil mezcal, 20 mil Aperol, 20 mil yellow chartreuse, 20 mil lime juice. That's it. Like
That's easy to
it's
remember.
yeah, it's as long as you've got equal amounts of all of them, the ratio is going to be right. You're basically just building to fit in whatever glass you're using, um,
Hmm.
and not be too short or too long. I guess. I find that if I go much over 20, like I was initially thinking 25, I thought that ends up at 100 mil, ends up with 75 mil of alcohol. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
A
so I
lot.
thought I thought 20s I'm a little bit happier with. Um, but yeah, it's that like even though it's a bit of a newer one, I guess like mezcal on a whole is not something that
Is it
has had a long popularity. I mean, a lot of the like outside of your just sort of Reposado and Añejo, like even like Cristalino has only existed for like
right?
10 years, right? Um,
It's yeah, it's definitely a more modern. Like a lot of the cocktails are more modern for it because it just wasn't really a thing.
yeah, which probably contributes to what we were saying earlier about how little it's seen in bars, and
Hmm.
that people have been making tequila cocktails for a century. They've not been making mezcal cocktails for nearly as long, so that probably also plays a part. But the Naked and Famous is probably the most well-known one to do it. Also, fantastic name.
Oh yeah,
If you ask me, it's how I'd like to be. So, you know,
sounds about right.
I had to get a joke in there about it somehow. Um, but yeah, it's a good cocktail. Admittedly, with the mezcal and the Aperol, maybe not a favorite of mine, but to find a mezcal cocktail that
It's
would be a task.
it's a hard.
So
It's a tall order.
yeah, maybe that's something that we can come up with ourselves when we spin the wheel. Shall we?
Ooh, the wheel.
Shall we get onto the the,
Let's get
the
on with it.
creative section? Probably one of the better segues I've done, and it was still terrible. Uh,
Hey,
let's get onto the modifiers wheel. So, honestly, listen. Don't hold me to this, but for next season, hopefully, we'll have a much cleaner transition there that I don't even have to do in the episode. All right, that's the hope. Don't hold me to that. Maybe it will still be just as unprofessional and terrible next season, but
it's part of the charm.
a girl can dream. So let's get this first wheel spin, shall we? Let me get it up on screen.
Yeah.
There we go. Boom. All right. So we're going with any agave spirit that isn't a blanco tequila counts. We can use
Yes.
any that we want, and
Any
we
of
have
them.
landed on egg whites.
Okay. Okay, I'm
Okay.
into this.
I mess with this. Okay, so an egg white cocktail with an aged tequila. I feel like
Oh,
there's a lot we can do with that. Um,
yes.
so obviously egg white being
What do,
something that we want to really go kind of silky with it. What are your
yes.
what are your initial thoughts?
My initial thought is like doing like something like a flip with an aged tequila. Because I mean,
Okay.
you know,
Would a flip not be like with a whole egg though? Are we
uh
allowing for
I
that
mean
on an egg white
we
roll?
can I've made a flip with just with just egg whites, but I mean
Okay.
technically yes, it's supposed to have a whole egg in it.
Okay. I think especially if we're going with egg whites or we're going with that silky texture, I think it would be really cool to get some super like specific flavors coming through. So I think
Definitely.
a really good, probably relatively aged mezcal or an añejo is the best kind of way
Yes.
to go about this to get some really punchy flavors through. Um,
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of the best way to do so in a way that isn't basically just a tequila sour, um,
Right.
because I don't want it to be too simple. Right, this is something that we always strive for on the podcast. Is rather than going really simple, we go, what if we made it weird?
Hmm.
So Jessica's back at the bar. And she's like, I love aged tequilas and mezcal and stuff, but like, I like an egg white cocktail. Make me something. She's already drunk. She had that. She had
Shouldn't even be
the
serving her.
she had the grog around and find out from last week, and it has ruined her.
Ugh.
Honestly, she's like one drink away from cut off, but we're gonna make her one. So what kind of weird creative thing can we give her to follow up on that? I feel like the only issue with having egg white here is it actually leaves things super open, right? And that we could
Yeah,
really
there's
go,
too many options.
yeah, like there's no, oh, it's worth going down this direction with it. We can go any direction at all. Um, so I think the best thing to do here might be to go with an existing cocktail that has egg whites or egg like a flip or something in it, get mezcal in there, and then see kind of how else we can twist that. Um,
Yeah.
Rather than just going off like a blank slate and going, let's just throw stuff together.
Yeah.
Or maybe I mean, as we established, mezcals are so often being put with bitter components.
Hmm.
Perhaps we incorporate one of those into this and have a real, um, almost like a dark, gritty flavor behind the soft lightness of the egg white. Um,
Ah, yeah, there you
it's
go.
it's like Batman versus Superman, you know. It's so like maybe not necessarily Aperol Campari, maybe something even more interesting than that. Maybe like a really good like Italian Amaro of some kind. What kind of um
I could see an Italian Amaro working well.
like a I'm trying to think of a really classic one, or just I guess a more interesting one than just a Campari or Aperol. Obviously they work, but um maybe like a Amaro Montenegro, like a
Yeah, I could see that possibly.
I'm trying to think what would go best with um like a mezcal flavor, right?
Well, what if
Uh, and it also,
I'm
I
just trying to
guess,
think,
maybe because there's so many options. I'm
what about
thinking to
like
go on
like an Amaro, like a bitter almond?
an almond
Because
amaro.
almond, yes, I think almond works really well with those aged tequilas. It gives kind of like a, you don't not necessarily something like sweet like amaretto, um, but would, kind of give it a little bit of a balance to those like kind of a little heavier flavors and like round it out a little bit. And almond seems to do that very well.
That's true. Um, my thought was less flavor based and more vibe based. In the
Okay.
sense of especially when we can go with literally any flavor. We were talking earlier
Hmm.
about the sort of incorporation of mezcal in bars, right? Um,
Hmm.
and the way that it's quite underused. Um, and that kind of gives me really two directions to really throw off there. And one of them is go super heavy down the this is a drink bartenders are more likely to drink because it's a super creative specific one, or the exact opposite, and we focus on trying to make a mezcal drink that actually would be really good at a mid-level cocktail bar in the sense that it's approachable and that people would look at it and go, actually, I could drink that, you know. Um, I don't know if Amaro
Well,
fits that so well because
no,
Amaro
nope, that
isn't very
that is a good
approachable
point.
to beginners,
It's
but
not.
so that fits better for the first idea. But I like the idea of not putting a mezcal drink on the menu because we really want that flavor, but because we want to do what we talked about earlier. We want to
Yeah,
make it
I
something
agree with
that's
that.
more,
Hmm.
you know, especially when we've
Yes,
rolled an ingredient that's so open. Um,
right.
that's not to say we can't
Nope,
use an Amaro, but
no,
um,
that's you make a great point.
I have found an almond Amaro that is worth considering. It is an
Okay.
Italian one called Giarola Mandola Amaro.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very heavy Italian name. It is uh, Amaro infused with selected almonds that contribute to a rich and aromatic flavor. And it's not that expensive either, which is nice. Um, Giarola also do a ton of different like cream liqueurs. I'm seeing, um, which is interesting. They seem like quite a popular brand that I've never heard of. Maybe that's on me. Who knows? Um, I, I like the way that this would pair with the mezcal, but having thought about the vibe side of it, I worry that it would be
No,
not
yep.
that.
Let's shelve it.
Um, let's put that to back for now. Maybe that can come in
Yep,
on the second roll if we get something that pairs well with it. Um,
of course.
the if you so the mezcal notes are obviously quite smoky, right?
Hmm.
But on top of that, um, it's it's like semi herbal, a little bit fruity
It's got
almost.
some vegetal flavors to it. Yes.
Yeah. So what if we combined it with something that was fruity, but not in a smoky way and not in too sweet of a way.
I
Um,
like what your thought
something
process.
kind of not specifically this, but something along the lines of things like nuts or like dates or raisins or that kind of
Ooh,
fruitiness
yeah,
where it's
okay.
like a sort of warm, earthy fruity.
Now, something that I've used in cocktails before, I actually have made a spin on a Manhattan, um, was plum wine.
Plum is a great
And
flavor
it's
as well, actually.
yes, so it's the Japanese plum wine. So you
Mm,
have like it's a little bit sweet, but it has more of like just a flavor that describe as astringent. And it's
hmm
very complex. And so it gives a little bit of like that familiar sweetness, but like the finish is very different. And so I'm thinking that maybe that would go well with mezcal and still something that's a little bit more out there.
Right, right. It's like a plum wine. So thinking like umeshu is what's coming up when I search plum
Yes,
wine.
that's what it is. Yes, that's exactly what I was
Okay.
blanking
So
on
we
it,
have
but that's
a
what
we
it is.
have a plum sake, which I think is basically the same thing at work. That falls into the category of umeshu as well. Um,
Hmm.
so I suppose if we find one that isn't too heavily sweetened, um, a sweet and fruity liqueur made by steeping Japanese plums in alcohol and sugar. Yeah, that could go really well. Um,
And you can eat the plums too, and they're delicious.
yeah. Full of Japanese plum and apricot aroma with mild tartness. Um, I like that.
It's really it is there. It's fruity, but it's light and it's a little
hmm
bit just different flavor as well.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that having that as like, if you think the sort of classic, Daisy slash egg white drink build, this could always go as like the almost secondary spirit, along with
Yes.
the um, along with your core of the mezcal, in like a 35-15 or like a 40-20 split or something like that.
Hmm.
And then I feel like with the egg white, it's best to have some citrus in there, but I worry about the citrus unbalancing what we want from it because citrus can be really strong in those drinks, right?
That's true.
Um, are there any egg white drinks like classics without citrus in them? Because if there is, I'd
Ooh,
like to know
that's a
how
great
how
question.
they operate, if that makes sense. Um, Cocktails with raw eggs should always include both citrus and alcohol, which both act as sterilizers. Okay.
Well, there's eggnog.
True. Um, okay, maybe what if we go back to your idea of a flip? Flip basically consists of any fortified wine or liqueur shaken with a whole egg and sweetened with sugar.
Yeah,
Is what the definition behind a flip is,
very
according to
simple.
Difford's.
Yeah.
Um, now a plum sake isn't a fortified wine, but it follows a similar kind of.
Yes, it is.
Is it classed as a
We
fortified wine?
consider we classify it here as a fortified wine. Yes.
I guess it's a liqueur made from wine, so I guess it counts enough for that, right? Um, hmm. Yeah, so like from what I'm seeing with a lot of these, most flips are just spirit, sugar, maybe the wine, an egg, right?
Yeah.
Um, whether we use a whole egg or not, I think we can just use honestly, I think we can just use the egg white. I think if we have the
Yeah.
right other flavors in, we don't even need the citrus. Maybe we just need something else to soften it.
Lengthen it or soften it.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's going to be really like it's going to have a really high heat to it at the moment, and that's not going to
Yes.
go too well with the. I think it needs maybe some kind of sugar or like not something
I agree.
super super sweet, but like
Hmm.
a syrup of some kind maybe, or like
So what flavors we have? We have the plum wine, and then we have the mezcal. What did we decide on? Or are we
Yeah.
doing going with?
You know what? We could just go with orgeat, right? I feel like
That's what I was going to kind of
orgeat would
suggest.
sit decently well under it
Yeah.
and not ruin the other flavors that are in there. I don't think. I don't know if it'd take away a little bit too much from the like or the way that orgeat will sit with mezcal. You'll still get plenty of that mezcal through, but I feel like the plum wine can be quite delicate,
Yeah,
and I worry that the
that
orgeat
is a
might be too
concern.
much for that, right?
Because I was
Um,
even thinking like with like adding some sort of sugared syrup, it would probably want to be 1 to 1 at the most, but possibly like even like a
yeah,
half to
yeah, yeah,
one.
yeah,
So you have more of like that. Perhaps like honey, like a runny honey would be something that might be
yeah.
complementary to both the plums
Um,
and the mezcal together.
Alternatively, also maybe like a tea syrup. Tea syrups are
Yeah.
really good at adding a flavor, but in a delicate way.
Yes. I like
Um,
those a lot.
Perhaps if we like steep a tea ourselves, maybe with like a little bit of fruit or something in it, like an apricot
Mhm.
tea or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Um,
That'd be really nice.
Maybe even put a little bit of plum in there as well, you know. Um, and then like reduce that down a little bit with a little bit of sugar.
Yeah. I think that that would give it the little bit of sweetness and length that it needs without really detracting from any of the other flavors.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think using some kind of like I don't know what tea you use for it particularly. I don't think it makes too much difference. Just
I
like a
think
soft
anything can be a
tea.
tea when you put it in water, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm just thinking like a really simple kind of standard tea, right? Like I'm seeing a lot of like iced tea syrups, but they're not really specific about what iced tea they are. Um,
Oh, that's just black tea that's
yeah,
made into iced tea. That's very Southern
that makes
American.
sense. That makes sense. Maybe like a green tea kind of vibe, you know, like a
Yeah, green tea usually goes really
something
well
that's
with
like
those
pretty,
citrus flavors.
yeah.
And
So like
it's pretty mild.
green tea with like some apricot dried fruits kind of stuff in it.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that.
like some apricot, maybe some plum, maybe some like dates, and
Yeah.
like a that kind of thing. Steep them in there for a bit, reduce it down to make it a syrup.
Hmm.
Add 20 ml of that in. You know, you got 40 ml
Yeah, I
mezcal,
like that.
20 ml of the plum wine,
Hmm.
20 ml of the apricot tea,
Yep.
and then
And an egg white.
an egg white, hard shake or
Yeah.
dry shake and fine strain.
Yep.
And you've got a
And do that double shake. Yep.
really lovely silky mezcal cocktail with some really delicate flavors in it. And I think
Hmm.
delicate flavors go super, super well with egg whites because that like silky
I agree.
texture of it just really, yeah. Um, Garnish?
Uh, maybe maybe something to like sprinkle into the foam that comes on
Yeah.
the top. But I don't necessarily want to like plunk anything down in that.
Maybe some kind of petals, like some small
Yeah,
edible petals, you know, maybe like especially with like the plum tea, maybe something like kind of Japanese style. Um, you know,
the
maybe
cherry
like a
blossoms or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, or like lavender petals or something like that.
Yeah,
I think the notes on the nose from lavender would match up really well with like the plum sake and stuff.
I
I
think
feel.
those
So like
you'd have to,
lavender petals, just
or
like
maybe even like the petals are like even just like a very fine lavender powder, just so you
yeah,
don't get a ton of that um, concentrated lavender flavor to detract from everything else, but you're still
that's true.
getting a little bit on the
That's
nose.
true. Yeah, just like a sort of like a stripe of it down one side, you know,
Yeah,
just on like a third of it or whatever. Um,
very
just for like
fancy.
some artsiness to it, you know.
Yes.
I kind of mess with that. That sounds really it sounds
Yeah,
really
I'd try it.
serene almost, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and a really nice introduction to not only mezcal but like a plum sake, because that's not something
Hmm.
that's really like many people know much about. Um, and even like to using like all of the ingredients in that are kind of things that people can sometimes be a little bit reluctant, but not in a way where they've all come together to go, oh god, I can't imagine all of those things together. Like the
Right.
grog around and find out, you see all those things together, you go, that's going to kill me, right? I'll drink it, but it's going to kill me. Whereas this one, you kind of look at them all and go, oh, I haven't tried an egg white cocktail. I haven't tried a plum sake. I haven't tried a mezcal cocktail. But them being together doesn't make you go, oh, but that's too much.
No.
You
Yeah,
know,
I think that
I think it
I
does
think
a
it
really
works.
good job of achieving what we aimed for, which is
Yes.
nice. Okay, so name. This feels like something that needs a super like pretentious artsy name. You know,
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
um, it needs something that like it can't just be like something that's super simple. It needs to be like Twilight or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's like a um
Oh, it should be something really like it has to be in a foreign language, of course. Um,
true. I mean, Japanese makes sense, right?
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I don't know any Japanese.
um, what is mezcal in Japanese? Okay, I'm not saying that out loud because I don't think I that can't be correct.
Oh,
Because okay, the way it's spelled doesn't look. It's according to this is Google Translate, not me. Google Translate says it's mesugaru, which is to me just like a Japanese pronunciation of the word mezcal. No,
no, that probably is it because a lot of that is the one thing that I know about Japanese is that a lot of the like
I guess
more
when they don't have like
modern like
specific words
English
for their stuff,
words
yeah.
was generally just I think I read that was like yeah just
Yeah,
pronounce
yeah,
the
I
word
am.
with a
I am.
Japanese
Yeah, I guess.
accent.
Yeah, I guess it gets it close enough to it. Yeah. I mean, can you just call it that? Probably not, right? Um,
Probably
maybe
not.
something to do with the plum. Like what's
Yeah,
plum garden in Japanese?
plum berry.
Plum garden. Um, there's the word baien, Baien, which means plum garden or plum orchard.
Yeah, your guess is as good as
Um,
mine.
uh, okay. There's hold on. I got this. I feel like that it just that's not what like the reason you would go with a Japanese language name on this is to make it sound super artsy on a menu, and I don't feel like Bayern achieves that as much as
I
I'd like it
agree.
to. Um, and it also doesn't look particularly Japanese. That's so weird. Okay, so there's a Japanese phrase called ume matsuri, which is plum festival,
Okay.
and I was looking at it going, okay, what is just Matsuri then? Maybe that's something that'd be a good one. That's nothing. It doesn't exist. Um,
Oh,
so um, yeah.
that's
This is
more difficult than I anticipated.
yeah. I don't. Um, I mean, plum is just ume. Like, um, uh, what's agave? That's a long
What's
word.
egg?
Egg, tamago. We just call it
Ume.
egg in Japanese. We can't just call it egg. We can't. um, what about
Oh no.
Oh, okay. Ume no kinu is plum silk,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's like a
perfect.
silky egg white cocktail with plum in it, right?
Yes.
Ume
Yes,
no
there we
ki,
go.
ume no kinu. I'm gonna copy and paste that straight away into the Discord so I don't forget that when it comes to descriptions later, because I will not remember that. Ume no kinu. I think that works.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds great.
Cool. I'm happy with that. Okay. It took us like almost half the time to think of the name that did to make the cocktail. Um,
They're like that
Oh,
sometimes.
we did
I always
so
struggle with
well
naming
with
cocktails.
nailing that cocktail, and then it came to name, and we went,
Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Back to the wheel.
Okay. Well, I
So
feel like this wheel is going to be way more like you're going to have a lot more flexibility and less scary times with this wheel.
possibly, yeah. Well, okay. So we've rolled back. We've still got an aged tequila slash mezcal, and we've got um
Egg white.
egg white. So it still has to have both of those in. I will
Yes.
say that we can just include a whole egg if we want to go with a flip style cocktail because it feels like
Yeah.
you know um an unnecessary distinction. Um, okay, wheel is spinning. It was really close to landing on egg white again. Dark rum.
Okay. 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 Okay.
I
Okay.
think we can work with that.
I think we
But
can work with
but I
that.
don't think we go mezcal. I think we go with an aged tequila.
You read my mind.
Um,
Yeah. You still have
this,
because you think about it, like a dark rum is also aged. So you've got two
yeah,
aged,
exactly. Um,
very mature flavors.
yeah. So,
But how
are
do you
they gonna?
balance it?
Yeah, are they gonna fight with each other a little bit too much?
That's my concern.
That's the only
That's
thing,
why I was
right?
maybe, because maybe again, mezcal comes and saves the day and has that smoky flavor to complement like the very aged flavor of dark rum.
Yeah. I don't know. I
I
just
know.
feel like I feel like they'll get lost in each other, and I feel like
No, that's a good point.
the
Maybe you do
where my
want
head
those two
is
big flavors.
where my head is going right now is what would it be like if the Mexicans made tiki cocktails, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I
And
mean, you got my buy-in with that.
because tiki cocktails do take
Yeah,
lots of complicated spirits, mash them together and make it work.
yeah. Yep,
They very rarely touch tequila.
right.
Um, and maybe that's where kind of the thing is. Otherwise, it's sort of a matter of um taking like a classic from each side, like a classic that is on one of those sides, and going, how can we incorporate the other into it, right? Um,
I'm
so
liking
like,
this tiki drink idea.
yeah, you want to try and build
Yeah,
a tiki
I
drink?
do. My only concern is where does the egg come in?
Oh, I did forget about that.
Yeah,
Where does
those are
the egg
usually
come
like
in?
build.
Hmm.
Not too many of those are shaken generally, right?
Where does the egg come in? Oh man. Oh, this. You know what's
It's
really annoying?
complicated.
This feels really really difficult, but it doesn't feel impossible.
No,
It doesn't feel like one that we re-roll because it can't work. But I cannot think of how to get it. Um. Okay. Okay. Egg white cocktails. Um. Cocktails containing egg white. Let me have a look at a couple of these, and perhaps one of these will give me the best kind of. Okay, so there's one um on Difford's that uses mezcal and white overproof rum, which is
okay,
obviously not the same thing.
no,
But it is called an illegal margarita. And the
yeah,
reason for that is
okay.
because it uses mezcal, white overproof rum, falernum, maraschino liqueur, lime juice, sugar syrup, egg white.
Oh, that sounds
So
rough.
yes, it does. That sounds really rough. Um, so there's one I'm seeing here called Tequila Alexander, Añejo
Like a
Tequila,
brandy Alexander?
dark creme de cacao, white creme de cacao, cream, egg
Yeah.
whites. Now, using cream
Yep.
and egg
Okay.
whites is a really interesting way of doing it,
Thick.
but I don't hate it. Is
No,
that
that
maybe
sounds
some?
really
Is that
good.
maybe something we
Yeah,
could
because like you
pursue?
could flip out one of the like the dark cacao for like a dark rum. They
Yeah,
have those same like sort of, spicy, chocolatey, molassesy vibes
yeah. I
that I
just
think
I
you could.
it's throwing me off having cream and egg white. I think
Now I want to try it.
how does that work together? That's my thought. You know, like what kind of texture does that create?
I bet it's really thick and very silky. Because think about when you have just cream in a cocktail and think about when you have just egg white in a cocktail. So the egg white is very silky and smooth, and you when you have the cream, that's heavier and also but
I
like
just
and
I
creamy,
guess I
right?
guess I
I bet
worry that
it's the best of both worlds together.
the cream, the heaviness of the cream is gonna the heaviness of the cream compared to how light the egg white texture is, it's just gonna crush the egg white, if that makes sense. Like
Oh, I don't think so,
you're gonna lose the essence of what the egg white is there for. Um,
but maybe.
wow, this is a rough one. The egg white really like throws this off because I feel like any combination
There's a
of
lot of things
two
that we could
in these
do.
three
Yeah,
is super easy, but
yeah,
all three is actually really really difficult. I do think that um like the tiki idea of mashing together juices and stuff sounds great, but I don't know how you have egg white with that because egg white very rarely goes with a juice that isn't a citrus.
right.
And tiki cocktails very rarely go without juice. Um, Perhaps I'm trying to think like the way that the Clover Club is built, because that's
Oh,
a
that's a
really
good point.
popular egg white one, right? But it
Yep,
doesn't really
yep.
like it has its base gin, but then it has vermouth, which isn't really substitutable in the
Either of
same
those
way.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
wow. This is. I tell you what. This is one of the tougher ones. Um, okay. So, what if instead of having the dark rum heavily incorporated into the cocktail mix itself, something that is quite easy to do with egg white is like having something sit on top? Or what if the
Like a float?
dark
Yeah.
rum is more of a float, right? Is that something that would be maybe a little bit easier to pull into it? Um,
Yeah, I mean, that does
like
make the dark rum a little bit more manageable when you're just floating a little bit on the top.
yeah, or is there maybe like a really particular kind of tequila that you could essentially just put into a rum sour? You know,
I suppose any of them. Because what is it? It's just
um,
a mezcal sour is
because
a
just
thing. So
as long as it's not a
yeah,
blanco, it counts, right? So like
yeah, yeah.
maybe they're just gonna. Wow, it's trying to make it where the dark rum and whatever um agave spirit we use aren't fighting each other, right? And they're
Right.
not like I was thinking about like a Cristalino, right? Because
I was just thinking
it's like
about that.
charcoal filtered, so it's a little bit
Yes.
softer. But then I was thinking, okay, what is it bringing? It's bringing that like agave flavor. Is that going to fight too much with the dark rum? How do
No.
you make it not fight with the dark rum? How do you
Yeah.
make it worth being there? You know,
Right.
um, and it kind of does feel like you have to go at least a little bit tiki with it, and then adapt that into a modern day sour. Like perhaps something like a Mai Tai build.
Okay.
Mai Tai is one of the few sort of popular tiki cocktails that doesn't really use like fruit juices, right?
Right.
Um, it just uses citrus. Uh,
Yep.
if it's a correct Mai Tai, it doesn't use
Yeah. No, it
like
doesn't.
any kind of orange juice or pineapple juice.
Yes.
But it also has like three different spirits in it. Now,
Hmm.
granted, those spirits sit really nicely together, but if you were to have a dark rum for like a dark Mai Tai. That's really easy to put in and make it work,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
If you then replace one of the other spirits in that with a Cristalino, it's got
Hmm.
a super high complexity to it, but because the only non-alcohol components in a Mai Tai generally are orgeat, which we've already established goes really well with these kind
Yes.
of tequilas, even if it's not Cristalino, even if it is a mezcal, orgeat goes really
Hmm.
well with it. We've established that already.
It does.
Lime juice is going to work. It's tequila. It's agave.
Hmm.
So honestly, maybe you go mezcal. If you're going to go with the orgeat, maybe you do go mezcal over a crystal. I feel like the Cristalino sits nicely with a dark rum, but I feel like perhaps because of the orgeat, the mezcal will do good.
I think that the orgeat would make the mezcal work in that application. But I'm just going to ask you the age-old question: where's the egg?
Right, yeah. Right, yeah. Um, well, the egg is, it's like
It's the side. Well, what if it was the side? What if we made some sort of like foam or something like with it to like use as the garnish, right?
make a meringue. Like,
Yeah, let's make a
like
meringue.
that's
Let's make a
that that
meringue.
feel that feels like cheating. That like
Why?
it is
Why
usually.
is it cheating?
I suppose we have done this before where we've used it like a float
Yeah,
or a side or something.
of
We
course.
make like a
We made like the little out of the cokes. Last time we made it the caviar.
we did,
So
but
like yeah, we can do
we
that.
also included cola syrup in the drink.
Okay.
I think we can make a meringue anyways because I like that idea,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it feels a little bit cheating not to. Although, look, a mai tai obviously doesn't have egg whites in it, but the reason that egg whites are a struggle with a lot of tiki drinks is because of the fresh juices, right?
Right.
That's not a thing in a mai tai. And if you think about a lot of the drinks that do utilize, especially like a Clover Club, right, that does utilize egg
Yeah.
whites, it does so with spirit, sugar, citrus, which is what a mai tai is. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's unreasonable to say we're going to take essentially the best of several different drinks categories and mash them all up into one. And we take what makes tiki drinks great, which is lots of complex flavors coming
Hmm.
together for this real conglomeration. We take what makes
Hmm.
a sour great, which is that real silkiness from the egg white and the citrus and stuff. And we take what makes a lot of agave spirits great in that they're relatively short and um, something that is usually quite refreshing in
Hmm.
any climate. Put it all into one with a pretty short, coupe style drink with
Okay.
a mezcal, a dark rum, orgeat, lime juice, egg white.
Okay.
You can still have, like with the Mai Tai, it has three spirits, right? You could still have a third spirit in there.
Sure.
Um, Maybe even if you had mezcal as like the main spirit, you could have dark rum as a secondary, and then balance
Yes.
that out with something else like a white rum,
Yeah.
um, or like or a triple sec or something like that. You know, um, I don't know how well a triple sec would
Yeah.
go with necessarily like the
I
mezcal
yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah.
like something like that where it's like a bit of a softer liqueur is more my point.
Sure.
Maybe something a little bit more herbal, right? Maybe like a um like a chartreuse or something
Yeah.
like that. Um, like would a green chartreuse work in that perhaps? I feel like we lean on yellow a lot, but I don't really want to.
Can you track a bottle of green chartreuse down is the better question.
This it's fine. This is a hypothetical bar. Of course we
Oh,
can.
yeah. There's no shortage in this world.
Yeah, we've got so much actually. Maybe falernum. Just use falernum. Falernum will go
Florida.
great with
Yeah,
all
that
of
is
these
good.
ingredients. Um,
Yep.
you have similar to the kind of Mai Tai build where you have like a 30 15 15 or whatever. You do that same kind of thing where
Mm.
you have 30 mezcal, 15 of a really lovely dark rum, 15 falernum. You do I don't know 20 lime, 30 lime.
Probably like about 20, I would say. You don't want it to
20
overpower the rest
lime.
of it.
No, but there's a lot of alcohol in it, is all I was thinking, right?
Okay, maybe 30. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Plus, you're going to add the egg whites and stuff as well. So, like,
Good
volume wise,
point.
it's going to be quite a big one, anyways. Um,
Yeah.
you go with like a um, 30 lime, 15 orgeat, 20 orgeat,
Hmm.
but 15, I think, works, right?
Sure.
And then
I
egg
think so.
white. You do your same, big shake and whatever to get the foam in it. You could serve it in like the coupe, like I said, or even you could serve it like a sour, where you do it kind of over
Yeah.
like some crushed ice or
Oh,
something, maybe. That also like still matches up quite well with the tiki in that sense, where you've got like
yeah.
the crushed ice drinks,
Yeah.
and
No, I
then
think I could see that working.
dot some bitters on the top, like some kind of fruit or whatever on as a garnish. I think with what we've got in, maybe like probably a lime, right?
Probably a lime.
And then
Yeah, I could see that working.
like it feels like it'd have a really kind of punchy flavor to it, but only in the same way that
Must be
a
very
strong
strong.
sour or a strong tiki drink would be, right?
Right.
Um, like tiki drinks are always, well, not always, but a lot of them carry I mean, a mai tai is like it's very refreshing, but it's big on its alcohol. This is
Yeah.
essentially
Yeah,
just a
definitely.
sort of an aged mai tai. Like it's
Yeah.
you
No,
know,
that's not
um,
that's not it's not far from the truth.
which I don't think is a bad thing.
No, I
Um,
think it would that works.
and I think adding in the egg whites is a little bit of a weird addition to mai tai. Perhaps not something you necessarily think of. I don't think it doesn't work.
No, I don't think it
I'd be really interested to try it. I'll say
I would
because
try it. Yeah.
this is one that's like much more intriguing. It's kind of again on the opposite end of the scale from our first one, where we were making something that is intentionally, ooh, this could be really soft and easy to come into. This is more one that is, wow, that's really punchy. That's unique, not in a, ooh, these are new things I
A
can try
lot
in a
of
soft
things.
way, but
Yeah.
these are things I've had that I could try in a bold way.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a really
They
good
contrast
pairing
very
with our
well.
other one as well. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, I think I'm happy with that. I think that
Yeah. I
that
think that would work.
works well. Any adjustments you'd make on that? I don't know if the like numbers were necessarily right.
No, I think, I was kind of resistant to the 30 lime initially, but I think you are correct in that maybe closer to the 20 ml with the orgeat just because.
Give it more of that flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but yeah, otherwise I think that sounds it's a lot of it's boozy. So
Yeah.
it's got a lot going on, but I think the rest of it balances out really well and I think it'd be intriguing.
I kind of mess with it. Okay.
Yeah.
So for a name,
The name. Yeah. Oh, the worst part.
um, yeah, because it's a sour, right? But it's a tiki,
Yeah.
um, but it's also tequila or mezcal, right?
Right.
Um, oh,
Beachy and mezcali.
um, hmm. Because how do you? Because like again, same as with the ingredients earlier. If it's just two of those things, you go with, oh cool, it's a mezcal sour, or it's a tiki sour, or it's a
Right.
mai tai sour, or whatever. But it's more than that. It's how do you? Hmm. Maybe this gets a weird artsy name as well, but in a little bit of a different way. This feels like one that it gets a word, you know,
A
a word
word.
that
One
like
word.
people have heard but don't really know what it means, and you look up what it means, it's like, oh, that makes sense, right? And
Yeah.
that word is to
Yes.
do with how like challenging and bold this is.
Okay.
Bold synonyms.
Yeah.
Dauntless.
Yeah.
Showing great courage in the face of danger. Well, we're not really in danger. Drink enough of them, you are, but I don't know if in danger is really the. None of these words are good. That's how I wanted. Not none of those are really impudent, audacious, um,
Brazen.
brazen, brazen. The cocktail. Resolute. That's a good one.
Resolute. Yeah, there you
Resolute.
go. Resolute.
Nice.
Nailed it.
Imagine seeing that name on a menu, just Resolute.
Resolute.
I hope I remember what these notes mean. Just two messages in a row saying Ume no Kinu and Resolute. Like I'm awakening a sleeper agent. Um, you know what? That was a
We made
struggle,
it.
I will say.
It
But
was, but I think a lot of it's just because it's these are not spirits that we particularly enjoy or care for.
yeah,
And
so
so it
and
kind
also
of
not ones that we spend
for
a lot
me
of
it
time
has
with.
yeah, no, so I don't have as much of a repertoire like already going for those
Yeah,
flavors just
I
because they're
feel
not
like
accessed very often.
with
Big stretch.
with alcohols that I drink a lot of, the exact flavor notes and the way that they can match come to me much more naturally. Whereas
I
like the
can already
flavor
taste
notes
it.
of
Yeah,
mezcal and a lot of like really
struggle.
heavily aged tequilas, I know them, but I don't really understand them quite as well.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
so it's a little bit harder to really pull it into a place that feels comfortable because it's not familiar. But I
Yep.
also think that that's one of the greatest joys that comes with a podcast like this and mixology in general, right? Is being able to explore um, these new possibilities and these new ideas, and also
I agree.
not just on our side, but I think that like something that is not to I'm not trying to talk us up too much here, but like if someone is listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, if I'm thinking about what they're going to get out of this, they might learn something new when we talk about, history or specifics about things, right? We talk about some old classics, but I feel like what I hope people can get out of this is a spark almost, in that when they hear us talking about these things and exploring these things and going through these possibilities, it's cool if they learn something, but it's better if it excites them, if it gets them wanting to think, if it gets
I
them
agree.
wanting to explore these possibilities. Because at the end of the day, that's why we're doing it, because we
Yeah.
have fun and we enjoy it, and
I really
there's nothing
enjoy
better
like
than sharing that.
yeah, I really enjoy listening to other people's like thought process when they're coming up with drinks because like I know what mine is and I know like kind of my like little pattern that of the things that I'll go through, but it's really interesting to hear like other people's like how they process through like that as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think like if you are listening to this at home and you've made it this
Thank you.
far through the podcast, yeah, thank you first of all. But you've made it this far through the podcast and you're listening to this and like this has given you any kind of spark to make stuff up. We haven't made any of these cocktails physically.
Not yet.
Um
No.
so if you're worried that like your resources or your experience is something that's going to stop you, it shouldn't. We are experienced as bartenders and in mixology, so therefore we know a lot of these things, but we're making it up as we go along. Like this is just us thinking out loud. You can do the same. You might not come to the
Yeah.
same conclusions, and a lot of the time it'll suck. A lot of the time, hell, if we made every single one that we made, I guarantee at least a few of them would not taste as good as we hope they would.
Right.
But the joy of cocktail creation is not about immediately coming up with a cool end product. The creation of it is just as much the fun. So if this is giving you any kind of spark, just go for it. Just start making stuff up. Whether it's that you
Yeah.
start pouring alcohols together, or whether it's that you write some stuff down, or just think out loud, or just talk about it with people, do it. It's such a good start on something creative, and if it leads nowhere, cool. It was fun, and if it
Right.
leads somewhere, cool, you might have a cool new cocktail, you know?
Yeah, you really don't need to have like, like a lot of people think of like cocktail creation and they imagine like someone with a very stocked bar going through and pulling bottles and putting things together. And like the last menu that I made for my last job, like I made that all like there wasn't a bar to make things at, like it was being built. So I made it all in my apartment just theoretically and then like had to bring in things to like taste it. But like I think that there's a lot of um things that you can learn and like a lot of things that end up being better than you would just be spinning around and pulling bottles is when you're sitting down with a pen and paper and doing it like theoretically.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that it works for both guest service and the mixology
Hmm.
side of things, two very opposite ends of the hospitality spectrum and journey. I think that on both ends of it, what will always yield the best results for the people receiving things, but also for your own happiness within what you do, is treating it with love.
Yes.
I think that I really like doing this podcast with you because we both love this. We both love what we do. We both love what we talk about, and so we treat it with such, and that means that it's enjoyable no matter where it goes. And it
Exactly.
works for guest service too. If you love the service that you give, your guest will have the best
Mhm.
night, you know. But it works all across hospitality. But I think that that's something that can very quickly get lost in the stresses of hospitality and the stresses of menu
Definitely.
development. Um,
Hmm.
and it's super important to remember that love for it. And if you don't feel like you have that, that's when you move on. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, sort of tangented a little bit there, but I just thought it was
Hey,
important to talk
it was
about.
worthwhile. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
because I do love what we do here. Um,
Mhm.
we are now likely going to take sort of a couple of weeks break from this while we just kind of reset into season two, if you like. When we come back, we're going to try and focus on, I think, what we're probably going to look into at first is some liqueurs and such. We've been through like the
Yeah,
base spirits and such, right? I think maybe getting a little bit more specific with some stuff could be an interesting path to take with it next. Um,
yeah.
but
I'm looking forward to it.
and in those couple of weeks, also, if we do manage to get the chance, hopefully we will, we're going to try and record a little video for the YouTube. Probably not Spotify, but we can try and give it a go. It more so because it's. I know you can put video on Spotify, but most people who use Spotify use it to listen. The video is a
Right.
bonus, whereas what we'll be doing is a little bit more reliant on the video. But hey, maybe we'll
Yeah.
put it on both anyways. We
Mhm.
might try and make a couple of the cocktails that
Yeah.
we've put together
I think
during
that'd be
this.
fun.
Um, Hopefully, before this episode goes live, I will have actually put together our menu. That's what I plan to do. I'm saying this so I can hold myself accountable for it.
Noble
Um,
goal.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm going to try and put together the actual menu so that at the end of this episode, I can put it up on screen so you can see the full list of the cocktails that we've made during this time. Um,
Yeah.
and we'll try and make maybe just a couple each. We'll hop on a call, we'll record it as a video, we'll make a couple of them, talk through the process, go through the process, and try them. Um, so that there's at least something during that break. But it'll also give us a chance to refresh some things, maybe for season two, maybe talk to some people about some potential collabs, get some guests on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably where we'll leave it this week then. Uh,
Sounds
so
great. It's been fun.
yeah, it's been a fun journey, and I'm excited to take the next path with it.
Yeah.
So
We'll see you
uh,
next season.
yeah, see you next season. Until then, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube, and make sure you rate us 5 stars and follow on Spotify. All of it helps. Share it with your friends. Leave comments. Let us know what your favorite cocktails was from this. Let us know what your favorite cocktail is from the whole menu if you have one. Um, Literally any kind of feedback or any kind of
Yeah.
I love
We like
attention, so um, you know, but yeah, it helps us out. So yeah, until next time, I'll see you later. Bye bye.
bye all.
And that is it for season one of the On the Fly podcast. Make sure you join us back for season two in a few weeks' time. We're going to take a little break now. In the meantime, we will be putting a video up on the YouTube channel and maybe Spotify too, we'll see yet, where we make a few of the drinks that we've made up during this season. In the meantime, rest well, drink plenty, and we'll see you back for season two.